Good morning. My name is Cheryl Woodard, and I'm one of the meditation teachers here at Ecumenical Buddhist Society of Little Rock. This morning, I've been reading the Zen teacher Suzuki Roshi, who was one of the very first Buddhist teachers to come to America. He came in 1958. So like 70 years ago, something like that. And 65, anyway, started to teach Americans how to sit in meditation. And because everybody was really new to this whole practice, it was brand new at the time, nobody knew anything about it. He had to explain everything in very simple terms. And so I like him as a resource to go back to when you feel your head is full of thoughts and ideas about meditation or Buddhism or the spiritual path or whatever. It's nice to go back to Suzuki Roshi once in a while. And his most famous book is called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And that's the inspiration for the meditation that we're going to do this morning, although you won't anyway. And I want to start with the kind of honest confession that most of us take up meditation because we'd really like to change something about ourselves. We would like to be better than we are. We're unhappy with our level of anxiety or impatience or anger, or we're just not kind enough. And so we hope that if we meditate, we sit like this guy here, like the Buddha, we'll become like him, we'll become perfect. And this is really, whenever any Buddhist teacher, but especially Suzuki Roshi said it, but all of the Buddhist teachers offer the same advice about this kind of spiritual ambition, if you will. And they say to give it up. Because so long as you're trying to be something that you think you should be, you're not being what you already are. And according to the Buddha, we are already perfect. The image that he used was of a diamond or a ruby, a jewel, a perfect, beautiful jewel. And even if you bury the jewel in the mud or cover it with soot from your fireplace or paint it even with something, the jewel, nothing sticks. The jewel remains unstained and untarnished. And according to the Buddha, that's the state we are in as human beings. We're jewels in the rough, but we don't know it. Because we're covered up with dust and stains and dirt, dust and dirt. And so meditation is a process of letting all that stuff just fall away. So instead of trying to change ourselves, the Buddhist teachers always talk about being kind to ourselves, like a mother with a distressed child. You know, when your child is crying and upset, the mother does not reject it or try to get rid of it or say that there's anything wrong with it. Instead, the mother leans in closer and listens with sympathy and care and tries to understand what's going on. She looks with kindness. She puts aside her cell phone and her emails and whatever, maybe it's the laundry or the dinner cooking or whatever she's doing. She puts it aside for a moment. She gives her whole, full, loving attention to the child. She loves it, basically. And when we sit in meditation, we're basically giving ourselves that same kind of private, safe space where we can lovingly and kindly inquire into our own hearts and minds. We stay there, we don't turn away, we don't reject what we find. We just look, we just listen. And we look with kindness into our own hearts. So meditation, besides being kind and attentive, is also a practice of curiosity. And the question is, what happens if I stop trying to make things be the way I think they ought to be? What happens if I just let things be what they are? What happens? Who knows, right? So let's find out, maybe. So, how can we help ourselves unless we know what's going on, really going on? Unless we have any understanding of what the mud is made of, or the dust, or whatever the stuff is that's covering our jewel. So we have to look. So this meditation is called calm abiding. In Sanskrit, the Zen teachers call it Zazen, but it's the same. It's basically the same, and it has 3 parts. And you'll hear slightly refined instructions, different instructions in the different schools. Like a Zen teacher may say things a little differently than I'm saying them today. But basically at the heart of it, it's all the same. So it has 3 parts. First is settling, second is opening, and third is looking. Sometimes also called resting. So first we use our bodies to settle here in this safe place. It's a private space. It's a space that we're creating for ourselves this morning, specifically for this purpose of meditating. It's a gift we're giving ourselves, if you will. So we want to do it properly, settle into our bodies properly. And then we focus on our breath as a way to sync up our body, that settled body, and our mind, which might be who knows where. So like the mother opening to her child, we're using the breath to open ourselves, to kind of, if you will, breathe out all the distractions and breathe in this moment, this present moment. So that's the opening. And then the looking is something that we do very, very, very peacefully. You're not looking at court documents. You're not looking at a report card or a test, or even examining things like a therapist or a doctor might examine what needs fixing here. It's much more peaceful than that. It's much more gentle than that. It's like if you want to picture laying on your back in the grass looking up at the clouds on a summer's day. There's no storm or anything, but you're just looking up at the clouds, and you don't really have opinions about a good cloud or a bad cloud. You don't have ambitions for what the clouds ought to be doing. You're just looking to see what they are. What are they doing? Where are they going? How do they come and go? How does a cloud cross a sky? One teacher, the Zen teacher Suzuki Roshi, actually said that in meditation you can picture yourself sitting in your house with the front door open and the back door open, and you let your thoughts and feelings, whatever comes into your mind, it comes in the front door and it flows right on out the back door, because you don't offer it tea. You don't invite it to sit down and hang out with you. You just let it flow in the front door and flow out the back door. And of course, as it goes by, you take a look at it. But you don't need to hang on to it or do anything. The point is to stay still and stay there and not turn away. So, okay, let's try this. for a minute here. I'm going to turn the camera toward the Buddha while we meditate, and then I'll come back at the end. So now, make sure that you're seated in a relaxed but upright posture. The Zen teachers call this ready, a ready posture. Allow yourself to feel supported by the ground, your chair or your cushion. You're fully supported by the earth, well planted in this seat right now. Then allow your spine to be long from your sacrum to the base of your skull. Feel the width of your shoulders, the length of your arms, stretching down to your fingertips. Feel the warmth at the core of your body. And let your eyes gaze out softly toward the empty space in front of you. If there's tension in your face, around your eyes, in your jaw, around your mouth, you can just let that tension go. Any tension that you feel in your body, you can just deliberately let it go. And now bring your attention to your breath. Just check out, where does your breath register in your body? Where do you feel yourself breathing? Is it in your nose, or do you feel your chest or your belly? Where is the breath coming and going, moving your body? Just find out where you feel your breath, and then stay close to your breath for a breath or two. Just stay there, observing your breath just for a couple of breaths, in and out. And here's a tip. If you're feeling particularly stressed out or agitated this morning, you can settle a little bit better by just breathing more deeply into the base of your belly. Now, I'm going to ask you to pay special attention for a moment to your out-breath. You don't really have to think about breathing in, because your body is going to breathe in whenever it needs to without any prompting. But I'd like you to take the out-breath and sort of very, very slightly exaggerate the breathing out. And this again is a technique to help you settle. So you breathe in, and then you sort of, even like a little sigh or something, you breathe out. And if you want to, you can picture your out-breath going out, out, out into space, far, far out into space. So you draw, the breath comes deeply into your belly, and then it goes out, and it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going, until there's a gap. And then your body breathes in again. And then you breathe out, 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 out. So I'd like you to try this with me now. Breathe in deeply. If you'd like to, you can put your hands at the base of your belly and breathe into your hands, so to speak. And then breathe out long and slow, like a sigh. And then pause at the end. And then your body will breathe in again. So all we're going to do right now is do this breathing. Breathing in letting the breath come in however it wants to come. And then as we breathe out, just gently letting the out-breath go way, way, way out into space. I'm going to ring the gong now, and as you listen to the gong for a couple of minutes, why don't you try this breathing on your own at your own pace. Okay, so as we're sitting here, tuning into our breath, what always happens is that thoughts and emotions and distractions come along and we forget what we're doing. And we hop over onto this other little track where we revisit what happened yesterday or last year or when we were children, or we anticipate what's going to happen tomorrow, or we find ourselves being judgy and unkind about ourselves, wasting time sitting here like this doing nothing. Who knows what? All kinds of stuff comes up. And again, we have two ways to work with this. One is to be like the Zen master sitting in an open room with a door open in front, a door open in back. And he's very patient, and the thoughts, whatever they are, can flow in the front door and flow right on out the back door. And he doesn't touch them. He doesn't grab them. He doesn't do anything with them. He doesn't push them away. He just sits there and lets them come in and lets them go out. Clouds in the sky, harmless. No need to do anything. And the other way we can look at them is like a mother, just inquiring. The baby can't speak for itself, but the mother is looking. She doesn't know. See, we always think we know. When a thought comes up, we think, oh, I know this one. But maybe we don't. Maybe what we think about ourselves is wrong. It's a misreading of the situation. I mean, that could happen. It does happen. In fact, the Buddha said that our biggest problem is ignorance. We don't know. We just don't know. So the way to look at the thoughts like a mother is that you care very much. But you don't need to do anything right now. You just need to look and observe. fully attentive, patient. You have all the time in the world. You really want to know what is up with this baby. So you just open and look with deep kindness, infinite patience, all the warmth in your heart. You look at the activity that is surfacing in your mind right now. And you don't need to fix it right now. You don't need to do anything. You can just observe. Some teachers call this part of the meditation resting. And by that they mean that even though you're still looking and watching and paying attention, you're resting. You can picture your hands are not on the steering wheel. Your car is not driving anywhere. You've parked the car and you are resting. Still looking around, still being present, but you don't have to do anything. And in this part of the meditation, the focusing on your breath can actually fall away. You're not really paying such close attention to your breath, but if you find that you're completely carried off by your distractions, you can always come back to your seat, come back to your body, feel your seat supported by the chair or cushion that you're sitting on. Feel your shoulders again. And you can come back to your breath. These are your anchors to the present moment, your support system. And you can rely on your body to be still here in the present moment and your breath to still be going on quietly in the background, whether you think about it or not. And these are the qualities of your jewel-like nature. Just there, just present, just functioning. Filled with kindness, filled with love, filled with patience. So I'm going to ring the gong again, and let's do these resting for a while. You can drop the breath technique unless you need it. And you can just rest and see what happens. So now I'm going to ring the gong one last time. And as you listen to the sound of the gong disappearing into space, you can drop all the technique of the meditation. Let go of thinking about your breath or your body, and just feel your body and notice the space you're in, and notice where you are right now. Okay. Gee, I really hope this is helpful to you. I want to say one more thing about our perfect jewel-like nature, because I remember when I first heard that years ago as a new Buddhist, I found it very hard to believe that I had some kind of perfection in me. And so for myself, I translated that to mean maybe I don't know the whole story. Maybe there are parts that I'm not aware of, and I was willing to just look and be curious. That part I could handle. So if you're in the middle of feeling really upset with yourself or frustrated with the world, or things are just not the way you want them to be, it might be hard to say, well, this is perfection, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. And I'm not suggesting that you do that even. I'm suggesting that you simply practice giving yourself the attention to see what deeper layers might be there underneath the sort of obvious stuff at the top. And the main thing, remember, about this practice is gentleness, kindness, attentiveness, not turning away, not rejecting. The mother never throws away the baby because its diapers are dirty, does she? So once you get kept comfortable with this technique of settling and opening with the breath and then looking, peacefully looking and observing, you can do it anytime. My favorite American teacher, Pema Chodron, she calls it pause practice. You can just pause in the middle of anything and take a few deep breaths, breathing, breathe in, breathe out, and then sort of sit for a second, and you can see if it changes the quality of the experience of your day. And it can become a habit, something that you learn to do, another tool in your tool bag, if you will. I wish you all the best. Stay well, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.